I think your most known roles are the one from Tatort. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, Tatort, yeah.
Okay, good. And of course Game of Thrones. Has anything
and I
changed?
think was not Head On here as well?
I haven't heard it because I checked it out, but I hadn't heard from it.
I think it was here and When We Leave as well. But yeah.
Okay, sorry about
that. No, it's
I'll
okay.
I'll check it again and let you know.
No.
But has anything changed for you since playing those roles, like recognition rise or getting more parts?
I mean, like as I said, because Head On and When We Leave, we were all over the world at the film festivals, like at the Tribeca Film Festival and Marrakesh, and even in Africa. So it's to getting more parts. I think it didn't, how can I say it? It was, not really like a big change. Yeah. But of course, after Game of Thrones, I had more international auditions, castings, and even people recognize me, in the States. Yeah, yeah. Like, and sometimes like, oh, do I know you? Like, oh, you betrayed Tyrion. That's the first line they're saying. And I'm like, yeah, thank you for reminding me.
And what was it like for you in a role like that? Because he's a very beloved character, obviously. So,
as I said, at the end it was really hard, so I could feel the hate.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, most of the fans are really nice, and I have to say I really loved my character. Even it ended like that. I think it was one of the best ends to have something like that, to have a cut like that.
Yeah. It's very iconic. No one will ever forget. So that's
Is it a good way or a bad way? I'm not sure.
I think you want to be memorable, like especially on a show like that.
That's true.
They say everybody dies, and it's just like so much is happening all the time. So
that's true.
Yeah, you were still very iconic. I think there's also because you play a detective, right, on Tatort?
On Tatort, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about strong female roles? Do you get more of them? Are time changing, or?
Again, as I said, I have to repeat myself. I'm sorry, but I was really lucky with Head On and with When We Leave. They were really, really strong parts, female parts, and even in Game of Thrones, I loved, and I still love the female characters because they are vulnerable, but at the same time really strong, and it's really rare still. I mean, we're in 2016, almost 17, and there are still more parts, really interesting parts for male actors than for actresses. But it's coming, it's growing. Like as a woman, you get more and more interesting parts. But if you have to compare it, it's still not there where it has to be, should be.
And speaking of Tatort again, because that's a very long-running show.
For 40 years.
Yeah.
But I haven't been in this show for 40 years.
You haven't?
Make it sure.
No, but what's it like for you to then all of a sudden play in such a long-running show? Is it easy to make friends or get into groove of things, or is it big?
It's for example, in Game of Thrones, I was for 4 years, and I'm still missing the crew, and it was of course, when we started to shoot every year, it was like coming home. And Tatort, we're doing 2 episodes. I like my role in Tatort, but at one point I have to think over it if I'm continue or not, because sometimes you feel if it's too long, you feel like how you say it's stuck in a
rut or something. Yeah.
So it's somehow it's a good thing to grow with your character, to understand them, and to get one, because it's really hard. Of course, movie is something different, but it's really hard to be in one episode and then you're gone. So you have the chance to grow with your character. But after few years, you think, okay, maybe now it's enough.
And if there's
is Tatort here as well?
I haven't seen, but we get German channels, so I imagine there's a lot of people watching it as well. We used to watch ProSieben at my house, so I don't know what channel it's on.
It's one of the biggest public, ARD.
Well, we get that, so it's I don't know if it's on one of our channels, but people will probably have seen it that way. And now going on to Game of Thrones, because there's a lot of strong female characters in that one.
Yeah.
Is there any other part you would like to play, or like that you think that's such an amazing character?
Yes, Cersei.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think she's a character you kind of love to hate, just because she's like that amazing, but she has a lot of depth.
That's true.
So what is it for you that speaks to you, or?
She could be, she can be, from the beginning she could be evil, the character, and I love that.
Yeah.
Hey, and she was really strong, and she knew what she wanted to have. She wanted to have power, and and in a really clever way. So how do you say it, behind the scenes, her son or her husband was the king, and she was behind them, but she was the most powerful woman. I really love that. It's really clever written.
And do you think sometimes Game of Thrones went too far in any storyline, or
do you think that?
No.
See,
it's what the show is about, like just breaking boundaries.
I think you can't go far away. It's just I really like that they are really, how do you say it, consequent, and not like, no, we can't do that. They are really like, okay, are we killing this guy, or are we killing this girl? And the first season, one of the main characters, and it's really, really, that's it.
They like to shock people as well.
Yeah.
Not as much as The Walking Dead though, because that got crows. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah. And what kind of shows do you watch?
I just watch. I have to say, Walking Dead maybe 1 or 2 episodes. I liked it, but I was not like
It took me like 3 tries to get through the first episode. I'm really not into zombies.
But I was hooked with Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And even more hooked with Westworld.
Oh, I still have to watch that one.
Yeah. It's very intellectual written, even. You think like, oh my God, as a writer you have to do this and that, and like Game of Thrones as well,
Yeah.
And wow,
keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think, because you have like a more just a general laid back kind of TV shows, and the more that you really get invested in, do you think there's a change in that?
What do you mean? Like,
well, there are a lot of like sitcoms, but also like shows like The Flash. It's more like fun to maybe just watch, but it's not really that.
Guilty pleasure.
Yeah, guilty pleasure wise, like Glee. I mean, that's you just sit back and relax. You don't really have to pay attention.
To think like, okay. I have to say, TV changed a lot.
Yeah.
So but in the past I was like watching King of Queens. I think this is that kind of show. But now you can't even be like that. You're like, okay, everyone is talking about this series, like Westworld. Okay, you have to watch it, and But I really like more this complicated storylines like Game of Thrones, and
I think those create more strong fan base as well, because they can get really invested.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they read up to. Have you ever read the Game of Thrones books? This is probably a good issue.
No, it's fine. No, I think I read the first one, but was the first one 1 and 2? I'm not sure anymore, because I wanted to. But after the the show, I started to read, because I want to understand George
Martin.
Yeah, George R. Martin's language, and I read it in English. So, and it was easier for me because I watched the show, of course. So I could I could understand it better and more. But it was like, I want to understand how he, wrote these books. I want to understand him, and but not all of the books.
Okay. No, it's a lot though. And of course, he isn't finished yet. No, he isn't finished yet. No, I haven't.
Don't ask him that.
No, I know. I love the part, like at one of the Oscars, I think they like sang about it, him writing and wanting to finish but never doing, and he didn't look that happy with it.
I mean, you have to understand. There is. People can be really mean. Can I say that? And to me, it's like, of course it's his job, but he doesn't. How do you say it? He doesn't owe no one.
No,
something.
It's his story.
Because it's his passion as well, and there shouldn't be a pressure on him. People are sometimes really mean and like, why he's not writing, why he's not finishing. excuse me, you know, he wrote this book, it was a gift for the fans.
Yeah.
Without his books, there wouldn't exist any show. And Dan and David did really, really good job. I love both of them, and you know how they wrote the show. So, but you know, there shouldn't be a pressure on no one, like they should finish that or they should finish that. I should see it as a fan, as a gift. I got that, okay, maybe I will get this, you know, the last book or not. But not really like, why are you not writing? Why are you not blah, blah, blah? Sometimes actors also feeling like, you know, I don't want to act right now I'm not saying that, but you know, maybe I would have 1 year, I want to have a pause, and I was going to say, no, I don't feel like, you know, I need time, and I don't want to hear all the time why you're not acting, you know, why you quit acting or whatever. It's really, you know, people should be more sensitive.
No, I think it's a lot of pressure, especially since like the story already is continuing.
Absolutely, and you know, it's a creative job. That means like you have to be creative, but you know, or you try to be creative, but no one should force you to be creative, because if someone, you know, it's always like that. If you want something at that moment, for example, if you would love to have a job somewhere, and this specific job, I'm sure, don't get me wrong, you know, you're not getting it because you're forcing yourself. You know, you want to have
that. Doesn't work. No, that's true.
So just let it flow, and you know, maybe sometimes they're blocked to write, and maybe not. Sometimes not. So it's a creative, really sensitive job.
Just a couple more questions. Would you ever play in a Dutch movie?
Do you have an offer for me?
Unfortunately, no. I'd love to write though. So
I have to say, of course, you know, is there international project? Why not?
Cool.
Really, I like that, you know, Netherlands and the Scandinavian and they're really, I think they're really creative, and also the actors.
I think so too. We've got a lot of good, and I think lately we've been like more expanding in our stories and being more international about that as well.
That's true.
So hopefully, who knows? And do you know any Dutch words? Because you're from Germany, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of it is alike.
Not really. You're right. I should learn some lines before I came here. But you know, when I was at this, of course, in the airplane, and it's a mixture between a bit. Can I say that?
Sure.
Maybe people are gonna hate me for that, but you know, German and English and you know everything, and you understand some words or lines, but I like the sound very much.
Well, I think because you can still understand, because it's a lot of like it's from the same Latin or Germanian or
I know
whatever.
What you mean.
So and my final question is
football.
No,
because you're German, Sibel, a soccer player.
Well, it's always a sensitive subject here, isn't it?
I know. Between Germans and.
Do you watch a lot of football then? Soccer?
Not a lot. I mean, like European
World
Championship,
Cup,
yeah, World Cup, and maybe European.
Because we're asking this to everyone we're interviewing today. What would be your Christmas message to our viewers, or in this case, our listeners? Do you have a Christmas message?
Yeah, have a Merry Christmas.
Would you like to try that in Dutch?
Oh God, yeah, please tell me.
Prettige kerstdagen.
Say it again.
Prettige kerstdagen.
Prettige kerstdagen.
Just to be safe in German, because I just laughed how I say it in German.
Frohe Weihnachten.
Great.
Prettige kerstdagen.
Very nice.
It's funny. It's not
it's
at all
not even
similar
near
to
no.
German. Frohe Weihnachten.
True. Well, that was all our questions. I don't know if you have anything popped up now.
No.
Okay, then thank you so much
Thank
for
you
your
very
time.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
I
enjoy
have
the
cold
call.
hands. I'm sorry. Thank you very much.